Hello YouTube, my name is Robstar-Z and I'm going to attempt a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Platinum using Porygon line only. Porygon Z is my favorite Pokemon of all time, so let's do a Nuzlocke with it. I love Porygon since I got him from a Wonder Train in Pokemon Y and played so much with him as a kid. I also love this wide move pool. That can work out really well in this run. The rules of the Nuzlocke are very simple. I can only use the Porygon line the entire run. Meaning, if one member dies, I cannot revive them, no items in battle, but hold items are fine and we must play on set mode. If you like these kinds of videos, then make sure to subscribe and like for more. Without any further ado, let's get straight into the video. I chose Turtwig as my starter, so Barry could have an Infernip in the future and that makes this run very hard since it's a fighting type. I did not have the randomized software in this run, so I installed PK Hex, something I swear to never install. I used PK Hex to paste the Porygon line in the emulator. I gave it random RVs and I gave it the same moves it learned at that level. With this we can get a legal start. I named my Porygon Z Robstar-Z because it's my channel name. So let's talk about Porygon. Porygon is not good overall, so it's probably the weakest of the Porygon line. Trace is probably the better ability since download doesn't always boost its special attack stat. It has not a bad move for overall. And even has a recovery move which is very useful in the Nuzlocke runs. Porygon 2 on the other hand is much better with a good defensive stat. Eevee isn't available in Gen 4 and that's sad because it could be absolutely godly. Porygon 2 have a similar move pool as Porygon and it has Hyper Beam. Porygon C is very good. It has a ridiculously high special attack stat, so in the early game that could be huge. But in return, its defense and special defense is lower than Porygon 2. It also has a good speed stat. It has the same move pools as the other Porygons, but perhaps I can get some TMs to learn some moves. After some training, it was time for the first thing work, who starts with Geodude. And Rock Throw cannot knock me out, so I go for Nasty Plot and Geodude goes for Stealth Rock, and from here I can defeat the Geodude. Next is Onix, who gets one hit KO'd by Psybeam. Last is Grenados, and this isn't a surprise, but he also goes down to one turn. That was the first jump at Orange, and a new level cap is made. And indeed work, that is indeed embarrassing. There was one problem though, and that was dark types. See, I have Psybeam on both Porygon C and Porygon 2. And I only had Pound on my normal Porygon, which isn't legal but I forgot to give it Tackle. So I had a rough time with this Stunky. I kept switching in and out because of Screech, but got super lucky with the crit. But I have to watch out for these kinds of battles. I thought Porygon Z returned just in case for the future Skunktank fight, because I battled with him the most. Commander Mars is next as I battle my way through the grunts and the Zubat immediately goes down. Next was Porygon, who was more of a problem. I wanted to switch but knew Porygon Z was gonna hang on. I set up a Nasty Plot and hit Porygon hard with a Psybeam, and Scratch nearly knocks me out as it crits. But I recover and finish the game. The game is still very easy with the Z on my side. As I progressed throughout the forest, it was finally time for the grass type gym. This gym went pretty easy but I misclicked and chose return. After that I set up a Nasty Plot and do a recover and then knock out the Turtwig. Next Pokemon is Charum, who absolutely gets destroyed by a critical hit Psybeam. Last is Roserade and with Psybeam it's also getting one hit KO'd and I get the gym badge. This gym wasn't hard at all. Next up is Jupiter and this was a scary fight and not because I one-shot the Zubat but because of the Skunktank. Well, I prepared for this for putting return on Porygon C and surprisingly Porygon C and 2 have got a bit of attack early game. Ah well, return hits for some damage as Skunktank was doing Night Slashes and I was terrified for the crit because it's a boosted critical hit ratio. Another Night Slash hits which activates my Citrus Berry. And with a recover, it is all good. Yuntara get hit by Smokescreen and miss one return. Since I was so scared of the Night Slash, I recovered myself up to the point where I was comfortable hitting the Skunktank and hit her finally. Not the most intense fight, but it could have ended differently. Next up was Fantima, and I start with Porygon 2. Duskull does a Will-O-Wisp and I must say I forgot that in Gen 4 it does 1/8 of your health. Duskull did a future sight which could hurt me a lot and I did a conversion to resist it. I took out the Duskull eventually and Mismagius was next. I knew Mismagius was gonna have a Confuse Ray, so I had a Passing Berry, but what I didn't know was that it outsped me and I get confused anyway. This could mean a lot of trouble for this run as I get a critical hit Psybeam, which ironically confuses the Mismagius as well. Now this is an uncomfortable position. I get confused as I wanna recover. This was not good. And I lost because I got confused again. I need some strategy for this run. But long live the 4 times speed on the emulator. I name my character Robstar this time and use the universal randomizer to choose Porygon-Z as my starter. I battled my way through the game, but it wasn't that hard with the same Pokemon. It was just a bit of time consuming, but I got there in the end. Oh yeah, and at the Stunning Tanks fight, I almost went down to a grid and had just 1 HP left. Finally back at the Ghost Gym, I start with Porygon 2 again, but this time I do it differently. I go for Agility, which boosts my speed, so I outspeed the Mismagius, while this girl goes for Pursuit and not Will-O-Wisp. I became a Dark type and will be good for the rest of the match. I knocked out the Duskull with a critical hit, and this time around Fantima brings Haunter, which goes down to 1 Siren. Then there was Mismagius, which was very annoying, but it cannot be that annoying since there was a Dark type. The only move that it could choose was Magical Leaf, since that's the only move that did neutral damage. And Passing Berry activates and I do a Psybeam of my own. The only thing I can do here is theoretically Psybeam, but it doesn't do that much and I do some recovers. I get Mismagius to the red and a Super Potion activates. It can only do Magical Leaf and even gets confused by Psybeam. And it gets knocked out by its own confusion. Take that Fantima, we finally beaten you. There is a problem, and that problem is Maylene. See, Maylene has 3 Pokemon, Meditite, Machoke and Lucario. While Meditite gets Fake Out, you always get damage on turn 1, and with huge power, his attack stat is doubled. Not only that, but Big Fat Lucario has Drain Punch. Not only is it a move that can 2-hit KO my Porygons, but it also restores health. I need a plan, and thanks to my homies, I got a plan, and that plan was Porygon 2. See, I can go to the Morphle Runner in Pastoria to get myself a conversion move back. Next, I go to the Game Corner and buy a Psychic TM. Now I have Recover, Agility, Psychic and Conversion. The chance should be that I'm always, with Conversion, a Psychic type. With this, I can just browse through the gym and recover myself when needed. I also EV trained Porygon to his defense, until we reach the level cap. And let's see how this battle gonna go, but I believe in this threat. I start with Porygon 2, but surprisingly, I don't get faked out, which means we can set up a free conversion. Rock Tomb will hit though, and my speed falls, but with Agility it is basically restored. Meditite does a confusion. You can see how low damage that did, as a Psychic knocks out the Meditite. I thought Lucario will come out, but Machoke comes out and he goes down to just 1 Psychic. Last is Lucario, and I was worried a bit, but Psychic absolutely does so much damage, as I can restore Porygon 2 with Recover and win surprisingly easy fight. Okay, I win. I also trained for some speedy fees against this trainer near Eterna City. Why I do this I will tell you later, but this is very time consuming. What isn't time consuming is subscribing to this channel. I want this channel to grow and with your help we can do that. After 1 hour and 30 minutes of training, I finally had the max speedy fees on my Porygon-Z. I will need to train the other Porygons as well, but that comes later in this run. The next berry fight was pretty easy, because I had access to the move Thunderbolt and Psychic. I didn't even need to set up a nasty plot, Barry just gets destroyed by Porygon-Z, aka the best Pokemon in the game. You can already see where this goes with Crash Awake, the oh so strong water gym leader. Gyarados takes a 4 times super effective Thunderbolt and next is Floatzel. Well, this doesn't go well, as an Aqua Jet crits and we lose Porygon-Z, meaning the run is over. Alright, I'm just kidding, of course not. He goes down to 1 Thunderbolt, and last is Grand Quagmire. I did a nasty blood and much lowers my speed, knowing I have max speed EVs, so I outspeed anyways and kill it with Psychic. Nothing stopped the Porygons from crashing Wake. So, Cyrus really want to mess with me, huh? Well, I teach him not to mess with red Porygons. His Sneasel, Golbat and Murkrow all goes down by Thunderbolts and Signal Beams. Pretty neat, huh? But the next fight was pretty interesting, as it was again against Barry. I mean, he hasn't heard how powerful I am. He's definitely gonna lose to some Psychic. Nothing can stop me. What is this? Defeat? No, it was my vision that stopped me. I should have known better. Porygon, I will make this up for you. Not only for all the Porygons in the world, but for all virtual Pokemon. Porygon 2 takes out the rest of Barry's Pokemon, but does it really matter? I don't think so, so I lost. It was time for Plan C. I named myself Rary 2 and began my journey again. I'm gonna speedrun this time around. No more messing around. While replaying the game, I was thinking about a Cynthia strategy already. Maybe we was too far ahead, but I definitely need the speedy Vs. So back to the trainer with 6 Magic Carps. Thank Arceus, I did have the Marco Brace this time. The battles were going a bit different than the first 2 runs, but nowhere near death anywhere. It took some hours, but I'm finally back in Canarive City. Let's defeat the Barry properly this time. He starts with Staraptor, and what I didn't do last time around was setting up a nasty plot. So I did that and defeated the Staraptor with Thunderbolt. While he does have a scary double team, but Porygon-Z breaks through. From here it was a cakewalk, and I defeated Heracross with Psychic, Infernape with Psychic, Floatzel with Thunderbolt, and last Roserade with a Psychic. I needed the XP share so I don't accidentally overlevel my Porygon-Z. Back to the drawing board for the endgame, and I even prayed against myself on Showdown for possible outcomes of the Cynthia fight. But let's be honest, we aren't there yet. It is time for Byron, the Steel type gym leader, and well, this could end wrong if we do not play this right. I started with Porygon-Z as I set up a nasty plot, but Thunderbolt hits really hard, like really hard. I try and do a recover and hope Magneton goes for a different move, but sadly he goes for Thunderbolt again. I have no idea why, but I did an Ice Beam here, and that was sad because I have a Magnet on my Porygon-Z. But it still hits hard. Luckily I do not get crit or get paralysis, so I do an Ice Beam and takes out a Magneton. Next is Steelix, and I do a recover to hope Steelix goes for a Fresh Cannon, since it has a weak special attack, and he goes for it. Another recover brings me to full health as Steelix does an Earthquake, and I decided to do an Ice Beam to take out the Steelix, and last is Bastiodon. Which is very scary because Bastiodon has the ability Sturdy and Metal Burst. Metal Burst returns damage of a special attack by 50%, so if I do a Thunderbolt and he does Metal Burst, my Porygon-Z is dead. So I break the Ice Beam and he doesn't go for Metal Burst, so a Thunderbolt takes him out, winning us the 6th gym badge. The next fight were against the Team Galactic Grunts, who weren't that hard, but we have to face Candace next time, which is pretty scary due to our Abomasnow with Focus Blast and a Frostlass with Snow Cloak. So I needed a game plan for this, and I thought I had one. This plan was called Double Team, and I thought it was a pretty good plan. Let's see if it worked out. But first, we need to solve the darn puzzle, which I really hate. So we are here, with the fight against Candace, and I thought Pigoswine was first because it was the lowest level, but it has Sneasel, which has Feint Attack and always hits. This is a very annoying fight, so I'm gonna do you a favor and gonna speed up this fight, and you can see I waste all my Ice Beams and did one double team in the end. Next is a Abomasnow, which I'm very scared of. Surely the 70% accuracy move with Focus Blast doesn't hit, right? Well, it does, and yeah, my special defense fell also great. I used Recover and this time the Focus Blast missed. So I set up another double team to start the Focus Blast, but it hits hard and takes out my freaking Porygon too. Not even Porygon-Z and Porygon could win against this gym leader, and that was because Snowcoke Frostlass, who hits Blizzards because it was hail, and the hail doesn't go away, so I cannot stall it out. Well, I need a better plan. Attempt 4 is here and I all started over again, and it took me hours to get to Candace. But how am I gonna win this time around? Well, I had access to Signal Beam. I had a different Porygon-Z, means it has different stats, meaning the speed IVs were good, and then a Calm Nature, which boosts my special defense stats and lowers my attack stat. This was great, not only for the gyms, but for the rest of the game as well. As I played a showdown for myself with possible outcomes, I had a solution, and I think it's gonna work out. So let's fight against Candace again. I started with Porygon-Z, which I named Glitchy this time. I set up 2 nasty plots, and this was very important. I recovered some health and defeated the Sneasel with 1 Signal Beam. Next comes the Abomasnow, who also goes down to 1 Signal Beam, and next is Snowcoast Frostlass. I had Shadow Ball and an Aspia Berry, and I knew I could take 1 hit from Blizzard, but my god, I hit the Shadow Ball in the first run. Next is Pigoswine, who also goes down to Shadow Ball, winning me this battle. Some RNG luck, but I hope we do not have to restart now. We have to deal with that pesky Cyrus, but he is just too easy for Porygon-Z. Honestly, this run was all about nasty plotting and then attacking, but some more battles await and I certainly don't want to restart. Saturn was just too easy, so I'm at the point I'm not gonna show every battle anymore because it's annoying, because you only see nasty plot and then an attacking move. I went to the Spear Pillar, where I could fight Mars and Jupiter with Barry at my side. And prepare for trouble. This fight was freaking annoying, and that was because of various Munchlax. I did have Porygon 2 and go for some double beams, as the Bronzor goes for Reflect and Light Screen. Great, my Porygon 2 has a minor special attack nature, so this could take a while, and the extra sensory doesn't do anything on the Munchlax, and Munchlax is just too weak. So with a few signal beams, we take care of some Bronzors. But this was so long, I'm gonna skip the part where the Bronzors are gone. Alright, one Bronzor is down, and then the second one is always there, but then Skuntank comes out. He only seemed to go for Munchlax, but I wanna do it safe and go for some more double teams. Great, Munchlax is nearly down, meaning Barry could have a better Pokemon, and that was Staraptor. With Intimidate she drops the attack of some Pokemons, but Skuntank goes for Flamethrower anyway, which burns, I guess? Come on bro, why have to be a dick? And not only that, the Skuntank wants to go for Smoke Screens, which misses, and a Thunderbolt gets some paralysis off. Because of that, I even want to do more double teams. Staraptor is down and Heracross comes out, which is good because close combat kills the Paraki, and thank you very much, this means 1. And thank you very much, this means Mars only have Golbat left, and I want to do everything to take the Skuntank out. Skuntank finally faints, and we take out the Golbats with some Thunderbolts. Bless us, this fight was way too annoying. Well, that dirtbag of a Cyrus wants to make another world. Now, where have I heard that before? Anyway, he got sucked in the distortion world because maybe he's an idiot and I have to go after him, stop him and catch Giratina. We faced Cyrus in one red showdown. He starts with Houndoom and I start with Porygon-Z aka Glitchy. I start with a Nasty Plot to raise my special attack stat by 2 stages and then a Will-O-Wisp misses. Well, we have some luck here, as a Thunderbolt almost knocks out Houndoom and the Will-O-Wisp come next this time. But then Lumberry, he was dead. Cyrus goes for a Fuse Restore, so I'm gonna do a Nasty Plot and should be a good game. Orange Crime's next, who also goes down to a Thunderbolt. And you can see a pattern here. Gyarados comes out and of course he gets killed by the Thunderbolt, the big fish. Weavile comes out and does some decent damage on Porygon-Z. Weavile outspeeds and goes for a Night Slash, which luckily doesn't crit, and then a Thunderbolt kills the Weavile. Well, this battle isn't won because we have Crobat, who is lightning fast. I should have just gone for a Thunderbolt, but I panicked and go for a Recover. Another Cross Poison hits, and I do another Recover to get myself away from critical hit range. Next thing, Crobat doesn't confuse away, and of course I hurt myself, but the next turn I snapped out of it, and I won the battle against Cyrus. How am I possibly going to catch Giratina, you might ask? Well, that was an easy one. Into the box you go and never come out, you devil. Well, we are at Sunshore City, but we have one problem with Falconer, and that is his Pokemon Jolteon with Thunder Wave. In Gen 4, Thunder Wave has a 100% accuracy, and because Jolteon outspeeds me, he can do Thunder Wave twice even with Cherry Berry, and I wouldn't get risk the paralysis. So here's what I did. I took Porygon 2, who has the Trace ability. Trace gets your Pokemon, copies the other Pokemon ability, and the ability of Jolteon was Volt Absorb, which means you cannot get hit by electric type moves and instead restore some health. See where I'm going with this? Right, let's do this. So, alright, so I start with Porygon 2 and the Jolteon has Iron Tail, which is 75% accurate, meaning with a few double team, it is most likely gonna miss every time. It is also a 30% chance to drop the opponent's defense by 1 stage. I began doing some double teams, not only for Jolteon, but also for the Raichu in the back with Focus Blast. We see that the first Iron Tail misses, which is very cool, and I do some recover to get some health back. We can now safely start doing some Psychics to do some damage, and eventually Falconer uses his Hyper Potion. After that we do some Psychics to knock it out, but the very last attack of Jolteon was my defense drop. Very sad times. Next is Raichu, who bloody hits a first Focus Blast, which brings me down to the yellow as I do an Ice Beam. Luckily Focus Blast misses next time around, not once but twice, allowing me to restore some health. And then another Focus Blast hits, but then the Raichu is frozen, and I can safely recover and take him out while he is frozen solid. Then the Electrify comes out, and with the defense drop, it is actually pretty scary. Luckily he misses, so I can hit some Ice Beams. I did some calcs and decided to stay in, but the Electrifier misses anyways. His Citrus Berry activates, and he hits a hard Fire Punch this time and burns me. Yikes, this is scary, but we freeze again. Insane RNG luck. Time to switch you out, Porygon 2, thank you for everything, and it was time for Glitchy. And because the Electrifier stays frozen, I can set up a Nasty Plot and take him out. And I guess this is a good time to try attack because of adaptability, and we take out the Luxray in 1 turn and winning us the final badge. There's 2 more things to do to take on the Elite Four, and one of that was EV train my last EVs into special defense. Why? You will see that later. The other thing was to take Barry out, and I must say this wasn't the easiest game, and I will show you why. I start with Glitchy as Barry starts with Staraptor. And of course I do a nasty pulse, but then he hits me with a close combat, and because I have the Chopper Berry, I can handle this pretty easy. Psychic kills the bird, and next was the mighty Heracross, who also goes down to a Psychic. Next was Infernape, and you can also see what his fave was. Next was Frosel, and yep, you guessed it, Psychic. Pretty easy, right? Well, wrong. Here comes your nightmare, Snorlax. Yeah, I wasn't prepared for this and decided to do a recover, but then a body slam does some major damage and paralyzed me. I did a Psychic and had to switch out sadly, but at least I get a special defense drop. Porygon 2 comes out and takes an Earthquake. I'm starting to do some double teams, but the lazy Snorlax goes for freaking rest. Well, this allows me to go for double teams, but because he had so much rest, I certainly didn't hope that my PP wasn't low. We tried to stall him, but then I get paralysis, and that was huge as I actually get paralyzed. I had set up all double teams as I can finally start attacking with Ice Beam, hoping to freeze, but that didn't happen. He just kept going for rest, and I did go for Psychic, and eventually got the second special defense drop, which allows me to kill him. If I wasn't this lucky, then maybe I would have lost, and that would actually frustrate me because I didn't want to play the game again. But Roserade comes out and just 2 Ice Beams takes her out. Well, that was certainly a good fight, and I have got respect for Barry for putting me in such a troubling situation. Thank you very much, Barry, you are a true rival. I need some preparation for the Elite Four members and saw different outcomes all over the place. This was my final team for the Elite Four. I finally got my TMs ready and items, and I go inside to face the Elite Four. First is Aaron, the bug type Elite Four member. Should be easy, but he has some pesky Heracross who can one-shot me. He starts with Jamega and I start with Porygon Z. I set up a nasty plot and he does a U-turn as I predicted that into the Heracross. I knew what to do and she goes for close combat, but the Chopper Berry activates which weakens the attack, leaving me in the red. I set up another nasty plot and this allows me to basically one-shot his whole team. Is this my tactic? Yes, this is my tactic. Porygon Z is a god and you know it. I said in the beginning I love this move pool and this is why. Next is Burfa and it has Grouch type. I hope I win this one. What will I possibly do? Oh, never mind. Normally I wouldn't skip these Elite Four fights, but this one is just too boring to show. Flynn is a bit scary though, and not because of his Infernape, but because of the sun. I really needed 2 nasty plots to really one-hit KO everyone in my way. I do a nasty plot, but the Houndoom goes for a sunny day, boosting fire type attacks and it has stab moves, so that is pretty scary. I do another nasty plot and then another flamethrower hits me very hard. See what I mean? I used Thunderbolt to knock out the Houndoom and Infernape is next. But I had a Chopper Berry and Mach Punch is only 40 base power, but he doesn't go for Mach Punch, allowing me to sweep his entire team with Thunderbolt. Winning this battle was actually very easy, better than expected, but still very hard if the Houndoom actually crits me, because that would have ended the run. Last is Lucian, and this is the exact reason why I had Shadow Ball on my Porygon Z for so long. See, I had access to Shadow Ball one time and that was to take out Candace, but I actually needed it for this fight. I could sweep his entire team with it and I do 3 times nasty plot because of Light Screen and I began the rampage. I also had Spell Tag to raise the power of Ghost type attacks, and honestly the Elite Four was easier than expected. I did not expect that, but Cynthia is last and she could be really strong. But I prepared a lot for her. I replaced Shadow Ball with Ice Beam and I replaced Thunderbolt with Substitute. Can I win from Cynthia? We gotta find out. Let's do this! Cynthia starts with Spiritomb as I start with Porygon Z. Well, I'm gonna explain the plan. The plan that I had for the beginning of the run. I start setting up 3 nasty plots and then recover and sub myself the whole time. This is because of Dark Pulse his power points aka PP. I need to stall it out, so he goes for Psychic and he did that in the end. I stalled out the Dark Pulses. This is where it's getting interesting, because of my EV training. Psychic will not break my sub. This allows me to take an extra hit from Lucario who doesn't go down in one Ice Beam. Lucario goes for an Aura Spear and then the sub breaks, but I can recover as Cynthia goes for a full restore. I did another Ice Beam and my luck is just insane sometimes. It crits. Next is Togekiss, who goes down in just one Ice Beam, and here he is. The ace Pokemon himself, Garchomp. This is why I have invested in EVs, because I can outspeed them now and kill him with one Ice Beam. All that hard work for nothing. Next is Marodic, and I also was prepared to see Marodic his Mirror Coat. So I do a substitute with myself, so Marodic goes for Mirror Coat and I can do an Ice Beam and it gets the freeze. I don't know, but it just happens. I defeated the Marodic, leaving Cynthia's last Pokemon Roserade, and you guessed it, Ice Beam to one-hit KO the Roserade, and we have beaten Cynthia. But we have not only beaten Cynthia, we have beaten the game using Porygon line only. That was it. The battle is done. I have officially completed in Hardcore Nuzlocke with the Porygon line only, and I had a blast. Playing a Nuzlocke with your favorite Pokemon surely is fun and challenging, and making tactics and playing with myself on Showdown and with possible outcomes was so fun. The downside is I have not that much time to play it, and I have not so much time to edit this as well. This video took ages to edit, and so a sub would definitely help. I'm also now on Twitch, Robstar-029 or Robstar-Z, and you can follow me for future challenges live. If you're also into VGC, that's competitive Pokemon, then you should definitely check out my older videos on my channel, and I will definitely do VGC on my Twitch channel as well. Thanks for watching if you have made it this far. You are a legend. You are a legend for making it this far. This was Robstar, and I see you in the next Nuzlocke. Bye bye.